Supreme Court has ordered the state of California to release thousands of prisoners by the end of the year because of overcrowding and the lack of funds to properly house and care for the inmates. This news comes as a group of conservatives is spearheading a movement called Right on Crime. Supporters in this move believe there is a way to both reduce the amount of taxpayer dollars spent on prisons and also reduce crime at the same time. Chuck DeVore is with the Right on Crime Initiative, joins us live from Houston. Chuck, thanks for your time today. How does this work?
Well, the way it works is you have to first acknowledge that most people who get convicted of crimes and end up going to prison will eventually come out. And if they eventually come out, what can we do then to reduce the chances of them going back to prison? How can we help them? In other words, using proper tools with either probation or with job training, other skills, and really help them to become productive citizens. And we've seen this in other states, kind of following what we did here in Texas. You've seen it recently in Georgia and Ohio and South Carolina, where efforts have been made to both reduce prison costs as well as improve supervision of people when they get out of prison, or diverting nonviolent offenders before they get to prison and trying to help them, prevent them from reoffending.
And Chuck, you mentioned things like job training and rehabilitation. Those to the, at first blush, those sound like something that will cost money, that they're expensive. So how do you balance that with also cutting funds and maybe cutting the fat in some of these programs?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, as conservatives, we have to be skeptical of government in all of its forms. And unfortunately, for far too long, conservatives have given the prison system and the justice system kind of a bye. And so what you find is that when you send people to prison, that is the most costly thing to do. But if you can divert some people to treatment or to other programs to encourage them from re-engaging with a life on crime, what you find is that those programs are actually less expensive per prisoner or per offender. It's actually less costly to provide supervision and follow-up and drug treatment, for example, than it is to incarcerate someone. And so sometimes all you have to do is figure out ways of balancing the budgetary pressures from the state level and the local level, so that local level law enforcement doesn't have the incentive just to send people to prison at the state level. And that's part of the challenge here. And by the way, that's a huge looming issue in the state of California, where this has been forced by federal court order. In the other states where we've seen success, it's the legislature and the governor coming together to solve the problem. California, not so.
All right. Well, I think we'd all agree that the most efficient use of taxpayer dollars is always a laudable goal. It's called Right on Crime. We'll continue to follow this and your efforts. Chuck, thank you.